So I want to ask you guys a question. What's the last good movie about the inner city that you saw? And when I'm talking about inner city, I'm talking about the hood. What's the last movie about the hood that you saw that was actually worth talking about? Take your time. I mean, it's gonna be a while for you to think of one. Got nothing? Exactly. Pretty much this is my review for Dope in 5 reasons.
It's a whole ratio, so unless you got some boobies.
What? Like boys don't cry. Remember we were saying that?
I remember that.
Allow me to reintroduce myself. My name is Malcolm Adekambi. Can you dig it?
So pretty much Dope is about a kid that lives in the inner city that's trying to get into Harvard. He's a geek, he's a nerd, he gets picked on, he gets bullied. The typical things you've seen before. It's his senior year and he wants to do something a little bit more reckless, go to a party, kind of have fun. But at the same time, he has an interview for Harvard on the way. Him and his 2 friends decide to go to a party and mix up with some drugs and some crazy things happen. Right from the start, one of the positive things about this movie is the soundtrack. The soundtrack is absolutely amazing. It's got a mix of kind of old school 90s rap with some new modern things, and it was produced by Pharrell Williams. Yes, Pharrell Williams, the same guy that put that song Happy in your head, yes, he produced the music for this movie. It's a really cool blend of rock, pop, and rap all mixed into one really cool album. And I think that the music played throughout the entire movie is definitely something that's gonna get you kind of jumping and bumping and just loving the whole ride that you're going on. So much so that the first thing I did when I walked out of the theater was go to Spotify and find myself the soundtrack. Besides the soundtrack, the movie has a really interesting story. Yes, it's a story that we've seen before and it's been done in countless other movies, but it does it in this movie with a bit of a twist. See, our main protagonists are all geeks and they love it. They're 90s geeks, they love 90s video games, they love 90s music, they love 90s clothing. So you mix that in with a story that you might have seen before, throw in a realistic take on what nerds in the inner city actually have to go through, and I think Dope story is enough to intrigue you and want to see what happens at the end. Now, a great story can be ruined by bad acting, but that's not the case here because the acting in Dope is actually really on par. Even from the fact that A$AP Rocky, a rapper, and even Tyga, or Tyga, however you want to say his name, is in this movie, even they do a good enough performance to make you actually be, wow, intrigued by the movie. But the leads in the movie are what make the movie stand out. Our main 3 protagonists are spot on great actors in this film. They do what they need to do to carry the movie. We don't have enough young black actors in Hollywood that really give us something unique. And I think that in this movie, we get somebody that we can actually look forward to and wanting to see what more they can do. Now, the movie is considered a comedy, and for the most part, the movie is actually really funny. It's not a hard-on comedy, it's more like a dramedy, but the fact is that this movie had me laughing a lot. Now, the comedy does have some smart moments and some slapstick in there. I think the comedy really works and it helps drive the movie forward. But with all that being said, the movie is not for everyone. I feel that it might be a little bit too quirky, different, and weird. The movie isn't like this crazy abstract movie, but I feel that the story is not one that might grab everyone, and the quirkiness of the characters, of the main 3 protagonists, how they're just kind of geeks, might not be something that gets the audience going. It's cool, but I don't know if many people can relate to what the 3 actors are. So if you're not really a geek, you can still enjoy the movie, and I think you really do, but I don't think all of society is going to really relate to our main protagonist. Some will, like me, and you're gonna really enjoy the movie. So I really enjoyed Dope, and what I would give the movie is a 4 out of 5. It's one of those movies that you don't really see that often about the inner city. It gives you a real sense of what's happening in the inner city if you kind of don't feel like you belong. And for me, that was something I really wanted to. Add in the great soundtrack, add in some of the great acting, and I think the movie really worked. For me, it's a 4 out of 5, and it's a movie that I highly recommend, and it just might make my top 10 movies of the year. Alright guys, hopefully you guys enjoyed my review for Dope. If you guys did, make sure you guys hit that like button, that subscribe button, and share it with all of your friends. If you haven't seen Dope, definitely go out of your way to see it. If you consider yourself a geek and kind of don't feel in the same place as everybody else. But if you don't see it, let me know why you don't see it and why it doesn't intrigue you. And if you do see it, let me know what you thought. And also, what's a really geeky movie that kind of relates to you and you can kind of see yourself in the characters? Pretty much, my name is Steven, and I'll talk to you guys later.